My husband couldn't accept that I hate mustard. Now I'm in a hotel fearing for my safety while he threatens divorce. We've been married for 2 years and together for 5. We're both 34. I'm a woman, he's a man, if it matters. I'm not a picky eater. In fact, I love trying new foods. Every time I travel, I make it a point to explore dishes with unique ingredients, just to say I've experienced them. But there's one thing I just can't stand: mustard. I've tried every kind you can think of: yellow, stone ground, honey, artisan, brown, spicy, you name it, and I just don't like it. The taste is too strong, and it's just not for me. For some reason, my husband refuses to accept this. He's obsessed with mustard, especially honey mustard, and puts it on everything. Every single time, he tries to convince me to try it again, saying I'll change my mind. I know what I like and I don't like mustard, but it always turns into a little argument, with him calling me picky. Last night, we were driving home from a weekend trip, and he stopped at a gas station for a quick bite. He grabbed a hot dog covered in mustard, while I got mine plain. I'm not even a huge fan of hot dogs, but I'll eat them once in a while. When we were waiting in line, he asked what I put on mine, and when I said nothing, he got upset. Out of nowhere, he grabbed it from me, marched over to the condiment station, and started putting mustard on it, telling me to grow up and stop being so picky. I was so stunned, I just walked out and sat in the car. I didn't even want the hot dog anymore. I'd completely lost my appetite. When he came back, he was furious, saying I embarrassed him. Things escalated, and for the first time ever, the word divorce was thrown around. He started driving erratically, swerving, speeding, and I felt genuinely scared. I quietly recorded what was happening, just in case. Tonight, I'm in a hotel. He ignored me all day at work, but when he realized I wasn't coming home, the non-stop calls and messages started. He even sent me a screenshot of a Google search for divorce lawyers. I haven't eaten all day, and I've been sitting here crying in this hotel room, wondering if this is really happening. I don't want things to end like this. I keep thinking I should have just eaten the mustard and avoided all of this. Can someone please help me understand why he's reacting this way? Am I overthinking things, or is this a bigger issue? I feel completely lost right now. Update 2 days later. I sincerely want to thank everyone for your kind words and for sending me links to resources. He's now saying he never wants to see me again, so I guess that gives me time to finally read that book someone recommended to me. I forget the name. I'll admit, while I was at work today, I thought about the empty room waiting for me after 5 and considered just going home. But deep down, I knew what would be waiting for me there. I just don't have the energy to give the kind of apology he'd expect to fix things. And honestly, I don't want to apologize. I don't think I did anything wrong, and your support has helped me realize that. For so long, I've felt like I was the one disrupting the peace. He'd get upset over things that felt small to me, and I would just go along with it because I loved him. But somewhere along the way, I think I lost myself. I never liked mustard. I never liked golf or camping or red wine. But he loves all of these things and wanted me to love them too. He always said he was introducing me to his hobbies so we could share interests, but now I realize our shared interests have only ever been his. Looking back, I see how many of my own interests he either refused to try or ignored altogether. And now I'm left wondering, how do I find myself again? My whole world changed just 2 days ago, and now here I am, sitting at a hotel bar, switching between Reddit and searching for divorce lawyers. I still don't want a divorce. It feels so final. I never thought this would be my reality. I used to take pride in making deliberate choices for myself, but now it feels like this choice is being made for me. And that hurts. Second update 1 week later. I took this week off work. My employer encouraged it, and I'm using the time to find a therapist who specializes in emotional trauma. I've come to realize I've been experiencing things I never fully acknowledged before. I feel completely numb. I'm also looking into a divorce lawyer. He found out where I was staying. I guess he followed me from work and was waiting in the hotel lobby. When I saw him, my heart skipped a beat, and not in a good way. In that moment, I realized I didn't miss him at all. I was afraid of making a scene, something I really need to unlearn, so I sat with him in the lounge to talk. Here's the short version. I pointed to the security camera and told him if he tried to do anything, it would be recorded, and I wouldn't hesitate to take action. He looked shocked and said he'd never hurt me. I reminded him of how scared I was in the car, and he completely ignored it. Instead, he asked why I wasn't coming home. I looked him in the eye and said, "Because you're divorcing me." He backtracked, saying he didn't mean it and was just upset. I told him, when healthy people are upset, they handle it differently. You threatened to end our marriage. I'm taking you seriously. That hit a nerve. He got defensive and asked if I was calling him abnormal. At that point, I was done. I told him if that's all he got from this conversation, there was no point in continuing. I mentioned that I was looking for a lawyer and suggested he do the same. He lashed out, saying, "All this over one mistake?" I just stared at him. When I stood up to leave, he grabbed my wrist, hard. I pointed to the camera again, and it only made him angrier. He never could handle anything that bruised his ego. One mistake? It wasn't just one. It was a pattern of controlling behavior for years. It was intimidation. It was too much. I told him if he tried to contact me again, beyond sending me his lawyer's details, I'd be calling the police. He finally let go. I wish I could say I felt empowered and celebrated in my room, but honestly, I collapsed onto the bed and cried. I was overwhelmed, so much sadness and frustration. The reality that he never truly cared about me hit hard. I've been searching for therapists, but why is it so hard to find one who's actually accepting new patients? I've also been looking into support groups for people who've been through similar situations. Less than a month ago, my life looked completely different, and he still doesn't think he's done anything wrong. He blames me for everything.